The Weltins are a very active family, and the teenage sisters love sports and school. Daughter Hannah plays tennis and is a straight-A student. Yet this very active family is battling chronic health issues.
Both of my kids were tennis players. My older daughter was a Division I #1 doubles tennis player. Hannah was a tennis player. Olivia had issues growing up with allergies, and she had to have a lot of surgeries, which ended up being unnecessary, but we now know that she has mast cell activation syndrome, as does Hannah.
Hannah is the youngest of the two daughters. She was recently diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, an inherited disease that directly affects the collagen and the joints in the body. The family traveled to Long Island from Rhode Island to fuse her vertebrae for stabilization. She's
actually been bedridden for 6 months. She lost a lot of cognitive function. She wasn't even able to do any schoolwork. She was a straight-A student. She wasn't able to do any schoolwork. She wasn't retaining anything. You know, she could read, but it didn't make any sense to her. She was having trouble having conversations with us. This is a kid who, you know, straight A's. She was doing great at math. She couldn't do simple math anymore. We tried to do manual physical therapy to try to correct it. It didn't work, so her neurosurgeon felt that because her cognitive deficiencies could have become permanent, and we did not want that to happen, that the surgery was absolutely necessary.
Her eldest daughter, Olivia, was diagnosed at the age of 18 with EDS. Once a dominant tennis player, Olivia now has trouble walking.
When they did a scan of her mouth, they found she had Chiari malformation. I joined a Chiari group. I found my daughter had already had tethered cord surgery. Started putting the pieces together, and there's a scale of hypermobility that you can check for, and Hannah was a 9 out of 9, which means she is the most hypermobile. My older daughter's an 8 out of 9.
There are 30 million Americans living with a rare disease, nearly 1 in 10 people. Out of the 30 million, 50% are children. EDS affects fewer than 200,000 people nationally, but is still considered a rare disease. Patricia Weltin knows those percentages all too well. As her 2 daughters suffered with EDS, there's no time for herself.
I'm a single mother. I have 2 chronically ill children. I don't get a lot of self-care. If you're going to take care of your kids, you know, if you have 2 chronically ill kids and you're the only one taking care of them, you need to find a way to take care of yourself.
While Hannah recovers, she will stay at the Ronald McDonald house in New Hyde Park, the home away from home for seriously ill children and their families. The room was specially refurbished by designer Bonnie Steeves to make the family more comfortable.
When I first came in and saw who I was designing for, it hit a chord. And, you know, is that I don't have children, but I felt like this was a home that allowed me to see what children give to your everyday life, and how important it is to be able to speak to that need.
I honestly have not slept this well in I don't know how long. I want to take the beds home. I want to take the room home. The feeling, it's been amazing.
Our families are really resilient. And I think that part of that strength comes from being in an environment like the house, where they can lean on each other for support. We see a lot of our families have really high points and really low points. And our goal is really just sort of to be there for them at the good times and in the bad.
For her daughters and others who suffer, Patricia Weltin has become the national spokeswoman in advocacy and other rare diseases, creating an organization titled Rare Disease United Foundation, posting research, blogs, and raising funds, while the outlook for her 2 children is uncertain.
It's tough with EDS. It's progressive. It's a progressive disease. We're doing our best with PT. We're actually working with the NIH right now on funding this study. Hopefully, they're thinking if we can get some kind of tryptase inhibitor, that will help this disease. Not everybody presents with high tryptase that has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but a lot of people do. So it's a start. I'm hopeful because, and it's a big deal. I mean, this is not just Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This is chronic illness.
For research, information, or to donate, go to rarediseaseunited.org. For Push Pause in New Hyde Park, this is Archie Snowden.